Absolutely do your homework. I think it's really important to get a good understanding of where you're going, the context of where you're going in. Do some homework about the community, how big it is, how long it's existed. Attempt to find out who the key people in the community are, and when you go there, meet those people. I know it's nerve-wracking if you're young and it's your first principalship, but key community people expect you to meet them, and often they're waiting for you to call. Some will come and meet you, which is terrific. And they will certainly not be happy if you don't take the time to meet them. And whilst the first person you meet might not be the most important person you may need to meet, eventually if you keep meeting the important people, you will meet. You will meet. Secondly, which I guess is a segue into relationships, your challenge as a new principal or a young principal in a remote situation is to build the relationships. I think we all like to go and change the world, and I've certainly made those mistakes. But the first thing, perhaps for the first term or first 2 terms, is really just to go and build the relationships. Nobody really cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So build the relationships with your staff, build the relationships with your students, build the relationship with your parents, who are your client base, and build the relationships with your community. Thirdly, I think you need to understand that you're now part of a community. You're part of an isolated community. You also need to understand that everyone will see you as a principal 24/7, and therefore you need to fulfill that role. There's a little bit about professionalism and integrity. Whilst everyone expects you to have a bit of fun, and everyone expects you to let your hair down a little bit in your downtime, there's no space for doing the stuff that you could do in the city, and no one sees that. You have to accept that in a remote community, your job is to play the role of the principal 24/7, and that will require you to spend time at every community event with every single person in that community. I think a great tip that was given to me is that everyone wears a label around their neck that says "Make me feel important." And whether you think that person is important or not, they believe they're important, and rightly so. My belief is that everyone is important, and your job is to make them feel important, not for them to make you feel important. Being a principal is a fairly lonely job. You're not in it to get kudos, you're not in it to get pats on your back, but your job is to give that kudos and give pats on the back to others, especially in a remote community. So whether it's a 3-year-old child and you do something for that child, or whether it's a 30-year-old person, or whether it's a 90-year-old person, everybody sees you and how you portray yourself in that community.